Hi, welcome to GRVOTV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. I'm just doing an initial review on my new helicopter, and the reason I'm doing these initial reviews is because I'm finding it very tricky to get the flight footage that I want of these. A, because it's been blowing a gale and it's difficult to do it outside, and I did a whole session of video where my partner videoed the helicopter flying around and not one bit of it was in focus, so we've got to try again, use a different system. So, what are we doing today? The WL Toys V977, or the Power Star X1 as it's called, which is here. Now I'm just going to show you the box. I don't normally do unboxings or anything, but it comes in a really nice box, this. I don't know why it says on it infrared somewhere. It says infrared. I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, this is a 2.4 gig radio. It comes with everything you need. Battery, charger, transmitter and the helicopter. And when you open it up, you get these nice sections with the transmitter in there, the heli in there. And you also get a box of spare parts, which is quite nice. They give you the important stuff, blades, tail blade, main blades, a screwdriver, there's an Allen key in there, and a main gear. And the instruction manual is very poor. It's very badly written, unfortunately, and I think it's where they've converted it from Chinese or whatever. It's sort of quite a lot has got lost in translation, but from what I could pick up, they've made the main gear a weak point deliberately, which is a good idea because it's cheap and they give you a spare one. So I would suggest getting a few more of those. It's obviously quite a powerful helicopter, being brushless, and I would suggest that that's the bit that they've designed for that to strip out. So that's fine in my opinion. Just get some spares. It's very flimsy, but I say it's only going to happen when you crash. But you will crash these. So the helicopter itself, just compared to, let's compare it to the MCPX brushless, it's much heavier. I mean, it's probably twice the weight. It's very sturdy feeling. And when you put it alongside, it's quite obvious it's got a completely different design method that they've chosen. One of the modifications you quite often see on these types of helis is a longer tail boom, which they've put that on right from the beginning, so it has really good tail authority. So they've thought about that. It's very, very low. I mean, it's about the same size as the MCPX, but it's about the same height as the Nano. It's very squat and low down. Now, some of that's to do, obviously, with the undercarriage being quite small, but it is a nice springy undercarriage. But I think it gives it a nice, sleek look. So that's good. You get a nice little head button on there. The main shaft is metal. The servos are actually proper little mini rotary servos. And there's a dinky, tiny little brushless motor in there. The canopy, once you've got it on, is a fiddly little bugger to get on. But you can plug it in and take the battery out without taking the canopy off. Ah, wonderful! So that's a great idea. As is, it's the same as these ones really, but things like when you get up to these bigger ones, you have to take the canopy off to get the battery in and things like that. But these smaller ones, they just make it so you slide the battery in and leave the canopy on. So quite a nice little sleek canopy, plastic, but fairly tough. I'd say it's tougher and thicker and heavier than the blade canopies. So I think that's going to last okay. Now, the real interesting point about this heli, because I normally have to buy bind and fly helis because I fly mode 1. But this transmitter that comes with it has a magic button on it here, which converts your transmitter from mode, that's mode 1 at the moment. I flick the switch, it then converts it to mode 2. It does all the electronics as soon as you flick that switch. You can also change it to mode 3 and 4 by using the mode transition button. So once it's on this side, mode 1, you can then choose, I think it's mode 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 on this side, just by holding down that button. So that works absolutely fantastically. So for me, I've had these helis before where you get a transmitter, it's on mode 2, everything comes mode 2 nowadays for some reason. I guess it's the most popular. and I've had to sort of try and either take them apart and see if there's a secret switch inside. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. But to have a company that realise that there are people that fly mode 1, 2, 3 and 4, and to give it, make it so easy for you to change, it's just fantastic. I'd like to see that type of system on every single transmitter. It's wonderful. When you turn the transmitter on, you've got a nice backlit display, and there are some interesting things on, but I think this is where it lacks a little bit when you buy this, transmitter with the heli. The one thing it hasn't got is dual rates. It has got a dual rate button, and there's lots of things that people have got wrong about this transmitter on YouTube, I've noticed. The dual rate button changes from high to low, but it only affects the tail, the rudder. It doesn't affect any of the other controls. I don't know why. It just is. It does actually say that in your manual, and that's what it does. And I found that on low setting, it's actually fine. Just leave it on low. In the middle, it shows whatever channel you're moving and the percentage. Now, there's no rhyme or reason to that. It's not something you're going to look at. It really is baffling as to why that is on there for me. Got a picture of a helicopter, and when you increase the throttle, the blades start flickering. You've got a throttle hold switch, and there's a little cross comes up in a box to show that the rotors have stopped, to show that you're in throttle hold. That's nice. You've got your idle up switch, which turns the helicopter here upside down to show that you're in idle up 3D mode, which again is really nice. The thing again, it's a bit weird. The 3D 6G mode, so you've got 6-axis stabilisation and 3-axis. And you change that with this button. I was looking on here, well, where does it show that it's changed? But it doesn't. It just, in 6G mode, the red light is solid. I mean, you can't even see it in the sun anyway. But if you go into 3D mode, you get a bleep and the red light starts flashing. You won't be able to see it in this light. So, for me, when I'm outside, it's always going to be flashing, and when I fly it indoors, I just put it on the 6G mode and the red light is solid. I would have liked to have seen that indicated down here somewhere with everything else. Now, it's a shame there are no dual rates, because when it's in 3D mode and you're in idle up, I've only had a few goes with it, but to me it's a little bit oversensitive around the middle. It needs a little bit of exponential, but it doesn't seem to have any, which is a shame. But there's nothing you can do about it, unless you can bind this to a Devo or some other type of transmitter. I don't know if you can, but the biggest thing about this is this. These are, that's our Queen of England, £20 notes for for this much money, £60, you can buy this and get change. And that is the bit for me that, brand new, in the box, all brand new, with battery, charger, £60, less than £60. I think I paid £54 for this, £54.50. So I've got enough money to get, another battery. But for me, to get that helicopter with that, so when people are saying, oh, and me included, the transmitter could have been better, could have had this, that and the other, this is what you've got to remember, that it only cost less than £60, or 100 of your American bucks, if you will. Which I think is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And the other thing I like about this is it's fully, because the WL Toys brand and line of products is building, and they seem to be quite keen, and a big growing company, it would seem. All the spare parts are available for these. Now, I've seen some little helicopters, and I actually had one, and I sent it back, but there doesn't seem to be much support and backup for them. Whereas with these, you can buy everything. And it's an interesting sort of layout as well. It's like a ladder chassis. It's just a straight across chassis with the shaft sort of bolted straight upright to it. Seems to work okay, and the servos are bolted to that. It's all seems to work well. And so you can get all the spares for it. You can get blades, spare batteries. You can get upgraded batteries. Everything is available for it. and it's cheap. The board for this, the control board, is 12 quid. The control board for, I think, the blade is probably about 40 or 50 quid. So the parts are cheap, affordable, easy to get hold of, which is fantastic. The only downside is that they give you a little tiny charger where you can charge 2 batteries. Now, when I plugged the battery into the first port of the charger, nothing happened unless I wobbled it. So it did start to work, but I'm not going to use a charger that I have to wobble it about to get it to work. The second port on the charger did work okay, but it's only a USB thing, and to be honest, I don't trust it. All you get is a red light flashing. It's not a charger that I would use personally. I've got plenty of other chargers I can use, and that's what I do. So there you go. The battery, by the way, is a bit of a funny shape one. It's a 3.7 volt single cell, 450 milliamp. But I say you can get spares and you can get upgrades. I was hoping that the battery from my little quadcopter would fit, and it may well do, but it's quite a bit smaller. But they're quite pokey, these little batteries, so I might try that on because it'll be lighter. It's a 260 milliamp, so I might get a couple of minutes out of one of those, so we'll try that. Flight time's about right for this type of heli, 3 or 4 minutes is fine, and it's on par with all the others here. Very first flight, it was drifting off quite badly, so I needed a bit of trim to bring it back, but once you got it trimmed, absolutely rock solid, lovely. The 6G mode is great for indoors, I think. I'm not one for going upside down indoors. I haven't got enough room for a start, and that 6G mode is really nice for indoors. It's a bit more like flying a quad, to be honest, but you still get plenty of movement. You can still bank and yank it around and get it flying really fast, even in the 6G mode. But once you let off the sticks, it does return to centre. Obviously it still keeps going, but it does level itself, which is really nice. I haven't done too much 3D mode with it because I just haven't had the weather, but as soon as I've done a bit more flying, I'll get some more footage and I will upload that as well. This was just my initial thoughts on it, but ultimately, from what I've seen so far, it's a no-brainer. And I think the next one I'll get is the one with the fuselage on it, the squirrel fuselage, because if that's as good as this with the 3-bladed head, and that's not a lot more money, I think it's less than £100 still, so I think that'll be a great buy as well. So this is GRVOTV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions, with the Toys V977, or as it's also known, the PowerStar X1 Micro Heli. I'll see you soon. Bye.